So we're gonna have to take off the hood in order to get this engine out. So we got to disconnect this old hood release in order to get the hood off, of course. So we're gonna start by unclipping, cutting the zip ties that's holding it to the hood, and probably be replacing this because it's broken and cracked and, you know, the typical. So we will be replacing that, and then if you push this cable back and pinch on this plastic tab here, that will clip. The cable will come right off the out of the whole release assembly here. And then last but not least, we'll just have to cut this guy again. There's this clip here, or zip tie. And then we'll have to remove this bracket here, which there is 2 1/2-inch headed bolts there. And I will grab a marker or paint marker to kind of outline where the bolts were, because this bracket is adjustable. Granted, most of the time I end up having to adjust it anyways, but I usually have reference marks there at least to get me kind of where it was, where the bolts were originally. It kind of give me a good base to get back to. Oh, that one's actually good. So now that is loose, and pull this back far enough. Might have to get a little screwdriver, but to pry on the back of this cable and pop it out of the bracket. Alright, I'm kind of fudged up here. I probably should have done this before I loosened the bracket from the actually, the cable's already broken, so you know what? Just make it easy on myself. Like I said, it's already broken. I'll put it in my vise and get the rest of it out. But you can see, it just clips in there. And then you just got to take, like I said, a pry bar or a screwdriver or something. Usually pry it out of there, but she is in there pretty good. But anyways, so now that's off and free. So the only other thing we'll have to do is zoom in, zooming in, moving, zooming in, is we got to unplug that hood light right there, which the connector is usually right down here. Although looking at it, looks like the connector's gone and somebody butt connected it. So in this case, we're just gonna cut it. Now that's free. Oh look. Interesting. That's the connector right there. So it looks like it broke and then I just stuck it in there and never reconnected it. But it's okay. I usually replace this with a whole LED light fixture under here. So it's all good. Alright, moving on to the fender. Alright, so now we're going to work on taking out the fender. Now, you usually have a Phillips screw right here which is usually a bear to break loose if you don't strip it in the process of breaking loose. So I strongly, again, before you take any of this off or attempt to, penetrating oil, lube the hell out of all the fasteners a day or so to give you the best fighting chance. Alright, so I already got that screw out. Now we're going to work on all the bolts. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those bad boys here. And then we'll have 2 behind the headlight, 2 on the bottom of the fender, and then I think about 4 in the door jamb. But we'll start on these bad boys right here. So let me grab my handy dandy impact gun. Oh, that one's spinning. That one's spinning too. So that tells me there's probably a nut on the bottom of it. Yep. So there's a nut on the bottom of those. So what I do is I have a long extension here with a 1/2 inch, and I go out from below to hold on with a breaker bar, and then I'll use my impact on the top side. Just like that. And then I end up losing the nut usually. And you get to them from the inner fender well. And rinse and repeat. I think you get the process. Oop, I forgot that one. Oh no, I got that one. It's just in there. Can't get my impact into this one. This one should have a clip on it. It does. And then one all the way in the back here that has a nut on the other side. Find my handy dandy wrench wherever I've been with it. This one's a little tricky to get your wrench on. There we go. There it is. Just need a little bit more power. Torque. Alright, now to the front of the vehicle. Alright, so now we gotta remove the headlight housing in order to get to the 2 bolts that are hidden back behind the headlight housing. Now there is one that you already saw me remove that's down here, and that is behind, of course, the turn signal housing, which I already showed you how to take out and get to that bolt there. So to take this headlight housing out, we're not going to take the screws out and all that stuff and remove it all separately. We're going to take it out all as one unit, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4 3/8 headed bolts that hold it into the core support. It comes out as one unit, and then all you have to do is disconnect the headlight from the back, the connector, which will be replacing these headlights anyways because they're trash if they even work. Alright, and now, really easy, we can disconnect the turn signal bulb and the side marker lens there. Really easy to get to. Like I said, we got 1 and 2 bolts there. So let me see if I can get you in there a little bit better. Alright, so again, 1/2-inch headed bolt. Gonna use my impact here. There's 1. Ow, hit my head. There's 2. And then, like I said, the 3rd one's down here, and I already got it out behind the turn signal lens. Alright. Alright, and then there's a support bracket right here that goes from the core support to the bottom of the fender that helps support the bottom of the fender. We have to remove that too, of course, to separate the fender. And system, what I believe to be is a 1/2-inch nut and a bolt. There we go. Again, 1/2 inch. When I say 1/2 inch, I'm not talking about the size of the actual bolt. I'm talking about the size of the head, so you know what size wrench you need, or socket. Okay. That guy's off. Now we're going to move to the back. Alright, so now we're looking at the inside the fender, towards the back of the fender. We have 1 and 2 1/2-inch headed bolts there we gotta remove. Now what I like to do with this one, you still use the impact. However, it's easier to take the tire off if you can. But I'm just gonna break it loose. Try not to get my tool stuck because I'm being lazy and don't want to pull the tire off right now. Come on after. See, probably smarter than take the tire off, but just break them loose with my impact, and then I use my ratchet to finish the job. This little Milwaukee ratchet's great for in tight spots, but it doesn't have the torque. It's an older one, and it doesn't have the torque to break these loose. That's why I like to use my impact to break them loose. Whoa, yellow jacket coming at me. Alright, last is we got 2 bolts down here. You can definitely tell this fender got, I don't know if he like bottomed out on something on off-roading or what, but he crunched it pretty good at the bottom here. But we're just gonna have to deal with it because I don't have a replacement fender for it. Not now anyways. So again, 1/2-inch bolt and nut. hard because I'm not actually getting on the ground to see where I'm going. Is that it? Where are you at, you bugger? Oh, well, there's a bunch of sand and stuff under there. That's what's going on. Die, spider. Satan, go away. Is that it? Fun tip. Make sure you go the right way. Definitely a lot of mud kicked up in there. Oh, still got one. Now we can just get the other one. There she is, right there. Yeah, yeah, tons of sand and mud shoved up there. Like I said, he used it for hunting, and I think he went maybe in the dunes a little bit. I'm not sure. All right, on to the last bit. All right, so for the last screws, you got to open the door and get into them with the door open. We got 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? 1, 2, 3, yep, 4. Again, 1/2 inch. For this, I like to use my ratcheting wrench because you can't really get a socket or any power tool in there. Alright, well, I think you get the picture. You don't need to watch me struggle with all 4 of these, so next up you'll be seeing me take the fender off. Alright, so now we got all the hardware off. So now this should be pretty free. So we're gonna have to be a little bit careful. It's kind of pain because this wraps around the edge of the core support. So we kind of have to try to like shimmy it just a little bit past this, where this lip gets over past the core support, and then we can try to pick up and take off. Oh, and there might be some like sealant glue, body glue from the factory that's holding this fender to the body over here in the back. Sometimes just that little pry a little bit. Where's that? For a second. Oh, there it goes. Careful with the fender, of course. Get a screwdriver, pry back on that seal a little bit. You just gotta be careful because pull too hard, you could bend it. If this sealant is as good as it is right now, so. Okay. You dang haircut. dumbass. I took off the wrong bolts. That's what's going on. Bolts I need to take off, but see, the whole defender's still on. Hey, look at that. Did you manage that? Oh. So yeah, there's two bolts right inside here. The ones I was trying to show you. I actually took off the ones that are a little further in that are actually for the inner fender to the body. So, I will have to take those off too to take the inner fenders off. But just to get the fender off, is the two right closest to the fender. Can't believe I did that. I know better than that. All right. Just like that. All right, just to show you. So there's the 1, 2, 3 bolts on the front that you gotta take off. The screw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts on top. Ooh, big ass spider. 1 and 2 bolts right there. Excuse me 1 second. How you saying? All right, and then of course there's the 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts on the inside of the door jamb you gotta get to. So those are all the bolts to get. Oh, not to forget the little brace at the bottom. All those bolts to take off the fender. Like I said, the hardest part really, because of the way that lip is on here, on this corner of the fender, hardest part is to try to kind of pry up to get it off this and then push forward to get it off. All right, hope this is helping you guys. I'm not the best explainer, but anyways, so we're making progress. So now I am going to get my pressure washer and pressure wash the hell out of all of this stuff and try to get some of these nasty spiders out of here. It's eviction time. They gotta go. Yeah. So bear with me. I'll be right back after I pressure wash this thing. Well, fortunately, I had to get some help to get the hood off, and I didn't film me taking the hood off. But it's pretty simple. Same thing. Just mark your hardware before you remove it to kind of help you get it aligned close enough to get you started in the original position it was in. And then it's this 1, 2, it's 4 bolts or nuts that come off, and then you can pop the hood and off. So now we have to work on getting the rest of this front clip off. So a couple little things, got to take off the inner fenders before we can do so, as well as try to fish these air conditioner lines back out and the front harness to the headlights out. So we'll start. This is the fog lights right here. Fog light harness, but we'll get the harness out first. And on top here, the harness is clipped up in the top core support. So we'll just unclip those, pop that out. It's got these little wire loom clips. You can either unclip it or you can just push it through with the whole clip. Come on in. Come on. All right. Gonna unplug the horns. Let me just unconnect. Turn this on lights. Just like that. Ooh. Go grab my snips. Alright, and we continue onwards. This relay right here is your factory fog light switch relay. And we'll just unplug that for now. And then there is a ground wire right here held with a Phillips. So just got to remove these two ground wires that are held on here. Then once we get all this apart, I'm going to go through this whole harness and the engine side, the whole engine bay harness, to make sure everything's good. Reloom stuff if I have to. Alright, next up we're going to take off the cruise control vacuum server, off of the bracket here. It's just easier to do it this way. Button that back on there, and we'll just set this guy over here to the side. Alright, so we already disconnected the vacuum lines for the little soup can vacuum canister here for the cruise control. Next step is we're going to pull off the connectors that are to the door spark ignition box here. And what we're going to do is you pull on them. They have these tabs on here. You don't have to clip those up and, you know, break them like most people do. All you got to do is pull, in theory. Sometimes it doesn't come apart like it should, and then you end up breaking the tabs, but most of the time all you gotta do is pull it and it'll these little tabs will push those tabs up. And there you have it. This side's done. On to the other side. Alright, we're going to work on getting the AC lines out of here first. So 3/4 and a 5/8 wrench does the trick for breaking. Alright. And just got to loosen this clamp here that holds this line down. And there's that line out. And we'll unplug this guy here. Actually, just like so. Alright, now we're going to take out the battery tray so I can get to that bottom core support better. So we need a 1/2 inch socket for this guy. There's one. Oh, this one has a. Let me grab a wrench real quick. Kind of backwards how to do it, but I can't find my other 1/2 inch socket right now. So that works. No, gone forever. You son of a bitch. Alright, now from the other side, you got 2 bolts and nuts down here for the battery tray. Oh, actually, excuse me. You just have one that's a nut and a bolt. The other one you can just get with a socket. Drop that one. Perfect. All right. So yeah, we're going to remove the evap canister now. Probably wouldn't hurt to do so anyways, because there is a filter that you can replace that's on the bottom of these guys that we probably should replace. There we go. Now, well, just take the whole thing out. Oh, there. I think I hear. Yeah. Alright, now that everything is off that we need, we can start disassembling the inner fenders and the core support. Here we go. Alright, so I got one side inner fender out and side's unhooked, so I'll show you how to do it on this side. So we got one 2, 3, 4 bolts holding the inner fender here to the core support that we need to take off. And then we need to take off that core support bolt and bushing down there, as you see on this side. So there's a little access point right here that you can slip a 11/16 box end wrench into to get the nut on the below, and then you just use the long extension with a 5/8 socket from the top, from above, with an impact. That's what I used. I'll show you how to do it here in a second. And then you got to remove these 2 anchor bolts and nuts that hold the inner fender to the hinge. And then right down here, which we already removed on accident when I was going to take the inner fender bolt, or the other fender bolts, the outer fender bolts out, there's these 2 here that hold the inner fender to the body, which I already removed on accident. So first up, we'll hit that core support bolt down there. Give me 1 second. Alright, so here's my impact with my long socket. Fit down there, right on top of that bolt there, like so. We'll do that. And then down below there, you'll watch me take this here 11/16 box end wrench, slip it right into here until you get it up on that nut, like so. Then I'll hit the impact here, like that. What I do is hold the wrench in there with the nut sitting in the wrench so they don't drop in the frame, and you pull the bolt out up, and then you can slide it out just like so with the nut in the wrench still, so you don't lose it. And then when we go to put it back in, just hold it like that and hold it with the wrench and get it started so you don't lose it in the frame. And there is the bolt, which looks really good. Usually these are all parted out. I'm wondering if these have been replaced at some point, because most of the time they are pretty rusty and crusty. So these are looking really good. Definitely reusing those. Alright, next up, the first thing we're going to do is attack the bottom bolt and nut that holds the core support, and also in hold right there. So that's the one we need to take out. I already broke it loose. Figured I'd get a head start instead of having you see me struggle. Just like that. And I can take this out here, like so. Alright, so now we just got 1, 2, 3 to go. Here we go. By the way, it might be beneficial for you depending on your rig. I probably should have done it on these to, again, penetrating oil. You can get to the back of these bolts through the headlight opening to soak the back side of them. And whoops. Like that. Alright, now we just gotta it's loose. We just got to loosen up these last two bolts and then we can take the inner fender off. Oh, I forgot one bolt. So there's one more bolt I forgot to let you know. There's the two that I showed you that I actually took out already, but there is one all the way inside, and it is a nut with a bolt, so you have to put a nut, you have to put a wrench on the back side, like so. There we go. There we go. Alright, well that's going to do it for this video. We got the whole front clip part like I wanted to show you guys. Usually I take it off as one section, like one whole complete together clip, and don't break it down like I just did. However, since we're replacing this core support, since it was all mangled from that deer the guy hit, I have another one that we're going to replace it, so I figured I might as well just show you how to blow the whole thing apart. So with that being said, next up is going to be yanking this motor out. So I'll do a video of pulling the motor, cleaning up the engine bay. We're going to go through the wiring harness, make sure there's nothing crazy or broken wires, melted wires, or anything like that. Relume everything, might as well, since I'll be pretty much able to stand in the engine bay once this engine's out, and pretty much get it prepped and ready for the new one to go in. Alright? And then we'll probably do a fun little video. We'll break this 360 down and see what it looks like on the inside after sitting for 12 years with the oil pan off. But next up is I'm going to break down all the front end accessories, but I've done a video on that, I'm pretty sure, at least a time lapse, so I don't think I need to go into depth of how to take all the front end stuff apart. If you want to see that, I'll be doing, I'm sure there'll be another Wagoneer where I'll do that, so go ahead and comment if you'd like to see that. But I really don't see it necessary. Like I said, I think I've done a video of that once before. So anyways, stay tuned, more to come. Like and subscribe if you could, that'd be great. Please comment if you like. Positive feedback's always good. If you must do negative feedback, by all means. I need to grow, right? Anyways, take care, and until next time.